on all of those platforms, especially most recently during this pandemic on TikTok. For more information on my personal social media and KEMPIRE Radio social media, head on over to the description box. So before we get back into my top 11 moments of 2020, let's talk about some of my favorite albums of 2020. And as I said before, this is according to what I've been listening to during 2020. And it wasn't my typical, listening to my Lady Gaga and my Taylor Swift. And I saw all of these lists this week in regards to everyone's top albums of the year. And some of these albums I had no idea had even come out. I didn't know about Taylor Swift and, of course, Lady Gaga. But to be honest with you, I didn't really sit and listen to those albums chapter and verse like I may have in the past. So I couldn't even put them on my list in good conscience. But here are my top 5 favorite albums of 2020. I can't believe I almost forgot to put this young woman on my list. I interviewed her in 2020. I interviewed her many years ago when she got her first record deal, and we caught up during this pandemic. And I have to say, I love her EP, Inside. Jeanette is an incredible singer, songwriter, and just, I love her. So her album literally had to be, if not the top of this list, definitely on my list. So at number 5, Jeanette Claudet's Inside EP. More information on all the artists will be in the description box. Anyways, number 4. And this is going to be a surprise to everyone because I'm not a big hip hop head, but this woman has had an incredible 2020. I mean, despite what people want to say about 2020, it was a huge year for hip hop, specifically for this young woman, Megan Thee Stallion. Her new album, Good News. Mind you, I don't remember when the EP came out, but she had the remix with Beyonce, which hit number 1. And the new album, Good News, had a lot of controversy around it, too, because she was addressing the Tory Lanez situation. That didn't make my list. I'll just give you the heads up. That incident did not make my list. Those moments weren't that important to me. But seeing Megan Thee Stallion rise to the level that she did was important. And I have to say, Good News is a good album. Like, when it comes to female hip hop, I love the way that she rhymes. I love just everything she talks about. So shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Good News comes in at number 4 on my top albums of 2020. Coming in at number 3, Victoria Monet's Jaguar. First of all, she is definitely an artist to watch. I interviewed Victoria back in the day when she was a part of a girl group. So to see her rise as a songwriter, writing for hits for Ariana Grande, but now writing hits for herself and creating this sound and these visuals and these merchandise that are just so incredible, just to see her elevate in 2020. Now she's pregnant. Congratulations to her. But her album is so incredible. It's sexy. Her tone is incredible. The lyrics are incredible. If you haven't heard it, check out Victoria Monet's Jaguar. And coming in at number 2, these young ladies have been growing on me. And I have to say, I wasn't a fan. A lot of people were fans of these young ladies for a long time. And I've been watching them. I was fans of them before they had a record deal and they were singing on YouTube. But I was like, okay, they're still finding their sound, their flow. And I have to say, on Chloe and Halle's Ungodly Hour, they found it. They did it. Look, do it. They're single. They finally did it. They finally put together a piece of work that I really enjoyed and celebrated. And a lot of people, I saw that they made a lot of different lists. Some of the pop lists and R&B lists. Chloe and Halle definitely have a really bright future. And thankfully, they have someone like Beyonce who has the success, but also the music acumen to really guide them musically for the future of their careers. I have to say, I'm impressed with how involved they are also in the writing and the creation of their music. So they had to make the list at number 2. And at number 1, and I know a lot of y'all gonna be saying, oh, here he go. But as I said before, I had to really be real with myself. What album has been on replay most of 2020? And it has to be my girl, Brandy's B7. And as I said to you before, I did a whole review. This is the only album that I did an actual review on the podcast, on YouTube, and I've talked about it multiple times. And like I said, I've listened to it multiple times. So to me, I had to be honest. I was like, this has to be your number one. This is the only album that you really listen to chapter and verse this entire 2020. I literally listened to it again today. Brandy took a lot of risks with this new album, and that's the thing. And I think that's why some people weren't able to gravitate to it so easily. It does take a couple of listens to see what she's doing with this project. But there are also elements where you're like, oh, that's classic Brandy. Oh, I see she's trying to do something different here. It was a good album, and it had to be on my list as number one for the top albums of 2020 for me. But as I said to you before, I would love to hear your answer